My people, have you ever heard of a man who married a woman so beautiful, so perfect, that he thought she was sent from heaven, only to later discover she was not from this world at all? This is not just a folk tale. This is a true African story, told from generation to generation, and it happened right here, not far from the shores of our own motherland. Sit close. Don't blink. Because if you miss even one moment, you may never know how dangerous love can be when the person you love hides the biggest secret of all. Now, let's begin. I still remember the way people spoke about Kofi, the fisherman. He was tall, strong, and always the first to set out to sea before the sun even rose. He lived a quiet life, alone in a small mud house near the beach. His heart was simple. He wanted only enough food to eat, and maybe, one day, a wife to share his heart. One calm evening, when the sky was painted orange by the setting sun, Kofi was mending his fishing net by the shore. Suddenly, from a distance, he saw someone, walking towards him. She was unlike any woman he had ever seen. Her skin glowed like it had been kissed by moonlight. Her hair was long and flowed like waves. And her eyes, they shone like the deep ocean itself. She smiled at him, and for a moment, Kofi forgot how to breathe. "Good evening," she said softly. Her voice was like music. Kofi stammered, "Good evening. Are you from this village?" She shook her head gently. "No. I am just passing through." The villagers had never seen her before, and yet, she seemed to know her way around the shore like she had walked it all her life. When she spoke, her words felt like a song. When she laughed, the waves seemed to answer. That night, Kofi could not sleep. He lay awake, thinking about the mysterious woman. Who was she? Where did she come from? And why did he feel as if the sea itself had brought her to him? But one thing was certain, this was not the last time he would see her. Little did Kofi know, the woman he had just met was not entirely human. The next morning, Kofi set out with his canoe before the cock crowed. The ocean was calm, but his heart was restless. His hands pulled the paddle through the water, yet his mind was somewhere else, on the mysterious woman he had met the night before. By midday, the sun was hot and his basket was only half full of fish. He was about to row back when he noticed movement near a rocky part of the shore. He thought it might be a turtle. But when he got closer, he froze. It was her. She sat on a rock, her long hair dripping with water, combing it slowly with a small carved wooden comb. The sight was so strange and beautiful that Kofi's paddle slipped from his hand. She looked up and smiled. "You again, fisherman." Kofi cleared his throat. "I didn't expect to see you here." "Maybe the sea wanted you to," she replied, her eyes glinting. For reasons he couldn't explain, Kofi felt drawn to her. They talked for hours, about the ocean, about life in the village, about dreams. She told him her name was Oma. When he asked where she lived, she only said, "Far away, but close enough to visit." The tide began to rise, and Oma said she had to go. She walked along the shore until she disappeared behind the rocks. Kofi followed a little way, but when he turned the corner, she was gone, as if she had vanished into the sea itself. That night, Kofi dreamed of her. In his dream, she was swimming far beneath the water, surrounded by glowing fish, her laughter echoing like music. When he woke, his heart was racing. He told himself it was just a dream. But deep down, something inside whispered that Oma was not like other women, and yet, he could not stay away. Over the next few weeks, Kofi saw Oma often. Sometimes she appeared by the rocks at dawn, sometimes in the cool of the evening. She never spoke much about herself, but she listened when Kofi talked. He told her about his parents, who had passed away, about the storms he had survived at sea, and about his wish to one day have a family. One night, the moon was so bright it turned the waves silver. Oma stood barefoot on the sand, her hair blowing in the wind. Kofi walked up to her, heart pounding. "Oma," he began, "I don't know who you really are or where you come from. But I know one thing. I want you by my side." Oma's eyes softened, but there was a flicker of sadness in them. "Kofi, if I say yes, you must never try to know everything about me. Can you promise that?" Kofi laughed gently. "Love doesn't need to know every secret." She hesitated for a moment, then smiled. "Then I am yours." The two of them stood there, hand in hand, as the ocean whispered around their feet. In the village, people began to whisper too, about how the lonely fisherman had found a wife more beautiful than any they had seen before. They were married in a small ceremony by the shore. Oma wore a simple dress of white cloth, but somehow, she looked like a queen. Kofi could not believe his luck. But the elders watched her with careful eyes. They said her beauty was too perfect and her presence too sudden. Kofi ignored them. Love, he believed, was stronger than any suspicion. He did not know that the sea had its own plans. At first, everyone in the village admired Oma. They spoke about her gentle manners and her beauty that seemed to grow brighter each day. She greeted the old women with a smile, played with the children, and cooked for Kofi with a skill that made even the best cooks jealous. But as the weeks turned into months, the whispers began. "She never goes to the market," one woman murmured to another. "I have never seen her fetch water from the stream," said another. "She disappears sometimes," an old fisherman whispered, "and no one knows where she goes." Kofi brushed off these words like flies. "She is my wife. That's all that matters," he told anyone who asked. But in the quiet of the night, when Oma would slip out of bed and leave the house for hours, even he began to wonder. One evening, the village elder, Nana Kwaku, stopped Kofi on his way home. His voice was low and urgent. "Kofi, listen to me. The sea is beautiful, but it can also be dangerous. There are stories of women who come from beneath the waves. They marry men, live among us, but they are not truly human. Be careful." Kofi laughed nervously. "Those are just tales for children." The elder's eyes were sharp. "And every tale begins somewhere, my son." That night, Oma returned home late again. Her skin was cool, as if she had been in the water. When Kofi asked where she had been, she simply said, "I was walking." He wanted to press further, but her eyes, deep as the ocean, held him silent. Little did he know, the truth was closer than he thought. One rainy afternoon, when Oma was away, Kofi sat inside repairing his fishing net. The wind howled outside, and the waves crashed violently against the shore. As he reached for more rope, his eyes fell on something unusual, a small wooden chest tucked under their bed. It was not there before they married. Curiosity burned inside him. The chest was carved with strange patterns that looked like waves and fish. When he tried to open it, it was locked. His mind flashed back to her warning on the night he proposed, "You must never try to know everything about me." He pushed the chest back under the bed, but his hands trembled. What could she be hiding? When Oma returned that evening, her eyes darted to the bed before anything else. Kofi noticed. She smiled at him as if nothing had happened, but her smile did not reach her eyes. For the first time, Kofi felt a cold distance between them. One night, a terrible storm swept across the village. The sea roared like an angry beast. Fishermen tied their boats, women secured their doors, and children huddled in fear. But Kofi woke to find Oma standing outside in the rain, facing the ocean. Her hair whipped wildly in the wind, and she was singing a haunting, beautiful melody that carried over the crashing waves. The moment Kofi stepped closer, something strange happened. The waves seemed to come, as if listening to her voice. Then, just as suddenly, the storm began to fade. Oma turned and saw him. For a brief moment, her eyes glowed with a strange blue light. Then she walked past him without a word and went inside. Kofi could not sleep that night. He remembered the elders' warning and began to wonder if Oma's beauty, her mystery, and her strange power over the sea were all connected. A few days later, Kofi came home earlier than usual. As he approached, he heard the sound of water splashing inside the house. He stepped in quietly and froze. There, in the middle of their small room, stood Oma. But she was not as he knew her. Her long hair shimmered like liquid silver, her legs were gone, replaced by a long, glistening tail covered in emerald green scales. Kofi's heart pounded. He could not move, could not speak. Oma gasped when she saw him. She reached for the wooden chest under the bed and quickly covered herself with a cloth. "It's true," Kofi whispered, his voice shaking. You're not." "I am from the sea," she said softly, tears filling her eyes. "I came because I loved you. I thought I could live among your people. But the sea is my home, Kofi, and it is calling me back." Oma sat beside him, her voice trembling. "If you ask me to stay, I will. But it will cost me everything. The ocean will never forgive me." Kofi's eyes blurred with tears. "I don't care what you are. I love you." She smiled sadly. "And I love you. But love cannot stop the tide. One day, the ocean will come for me, and it will not come gently." That night, they held each other as if the world outside no longer existed. But in the darkness, Kofi could hear the distant roar of the waves, growing louder. It happened at dawn. Kofi woke to the sound of water rushing, not from the shore, but inside their house. The door burst open, and a wave unlike any he had ever seen surged in, glowing faintly in the morning light. Oma stood, her eyes full of sorrow. "Forgive me, Kofi." Before he could reach her, the wave wrapped around her like a mother taking a child home. In a blink, she was gone, vanished into the sea. Kofi ran to the shore, shouting her name, but there was only the endless ocean before him. The waves lapped gently at his feet, as if mocking him. Years passed. Kofi never remarried. Every evening, he would sit by the shore, staring at the horizon, waiting. Some nights, fishermen swore they saw a woman with long silver hair watching from the waves, singing a song only Kofi seemed to understand. The villagers told the story to their children, of the fisherman who married a mermaid without knowing. They said love could bridge two worlds, but only for a while. And sometimes, when the moon is bright and the sea is calm, if you listen closely, you might hear her voice calling from the deep. My people, love is a powerful thing. It can make you blind to truths hidden in plain sight. But sometimes, the ones we love are not meant to stay forever. Some are only sent to teach us that even the sea has a heart, and even hearts must one day let go. If you were in Kofi's place, would you have kept her secret, no matter the cost? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting folktale stories like this.